I feel called to share this story, even though I'm deeply embarrassed about it. But I want to talk about it because I think it might help other women out there who feel bouts of insecurity or jealousy. Marcus and I went to a mobility class together at our local gym. When we left the mobility class, there was a woman standing outside who was a beautiful woman. Great, just beautiful. I'll just put it like that. And my partner walks out first and she looks at him and she says, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm good, how are you?" I ain't never seen this woman before in my life. So I instantly kind of like turn red, and I look at her. Like I said, she's gorgeous, wonderful physique. She's put together, and I was just instantly felt jealousy. And so we get in the car, and he can tell that I'm kind of like turned off or I'm put off. And he's like, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, I don't even remember what I said because I was so just in my head. I think I said something like, "Do you come in here and like meet up with women, or do you come in here and talk to women that I don't know about," or something like that. And he said, "Huh?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "That woman that knew you, like, how do y'all know each other?" He said, "That's the woman who replaced Miss Sheila last week when she was out for her back. I told you that she wasn't here and we had a replacement because I didn't go with him last week." And I remembered that and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that is right." And I had to sit in that for a minute, okay? And one, I knew that it hurt his feelings. I knew that it bothered him that I jumped straight to that. Probably because he has never done that to me. It doesn't matter how I dress. It doesn't matter who I talk to. It doesn't matter what I do. Like, he trusts me 10 toes down. And, you know, he has done so much work in this relationship to, you know, face his demons, work through things, work through his misogyny, work through his objectification, the things that he did prior to us meeting. He has worked hard to ensure that that isn't brought into our relationship anymore. So I understand why it hurt him. I could tell by his energy. I was like, "Oh, that was wrong of me." And I instantly felt embarrassment and shame, right? So we go home and I'm sitting on the bed, and luckily I have the partner that I have, because he could have been mean to me. He could have like shut down. He could have, you know, said some really messed up stuff. He comes and he sits beside me and he puts his arm around me and he says, "It's okay." And I instantly just start, oh my God. You know, I'm crying, I'm snotting, and he's just, you know, rubbing my shoulders, rubbing my back, and he's like, "It's okay. Like, it's okay. I understand." And the reason he understands is because he listens to me, and we have talked many times about how fragile my security can feel because of the fact that my father left, and, you know, my father left for other women, just dating young men who had pornography issues, being cheated on, being just deep levels of self-worth and insecurities that definitely rear their head sometimes, and this was a period where it reared their head. And this week I had already been kind of fragile anyways, because we had been doing some father wound healing, and if you watch any of my videos, you can go back and see I talk about fatherhood or father wounds a lot and how deeply it affects us as women. And so I'm telling you this to let you know that it's okay if you get in moments like this, if you get in moments where you feel insecure, where you feel alone, where you feel like your partner maybe would leave, or you're, you know, this and that. But I'm saying this because I really want you to sit back and I want you to think about something with me. I would not have felt that way if it was a man, if it was an old lady, if I didn't put such a high regard on a physique, on a body, and on a face, and on beauty. What I was telling myself in that moment was, I am deeply replaceable. I am easily replaceable. I am easily replaceable, and I am not worthy. I am not good enough. And she is better than me simply because we have two different body types. Simply because we have two different body types, my mind went there. And I had to really sit with that, and at first I wanted to feel shame and I wanted to feel guilt about what I had done, because it was embarrassing, you know. In moments like that, and if you've ever been there, you know, in moments like that, you feel childish. You feel like, "Ooh, that wasn't my best act." that wasn't the best thing I ever did, you know. And I wanted to sit with that, but then I took it a step further after I had calmed down, and I was like, "Ooh, this means that I feel fundamentally like I'm replaceable, like my worth is low. Like if I don't look a certain way, I'm going to be replaced or not chosen or not good enough." I completely disregard the fact that we've built a life together, we have a daughter together, we are best friends, the impact that I have put on his life in spirituality, the things I've stuck beside him in, the things he's stuck beside me in, the work that he's put in, the work that I've put in, all of this went out the window for really objectification, because I was objectifying her by seeing her body before seeing her as a human being who was just saying, hey, I saw you in a class last week. That's it. That's all it was. But because my self-worth is on the rocks sometimes, I instantly picked myself apart and planted in my brain that I was replaceable. Because that is a core wound of mine as a woman who doesn't have a father. As a woman whose father did not stick around. As a woman who watched her father cheat on her mother. As a woman who saw men objectify women. As a woman who grew up as a woman and watched the films that I watched, listened to the music that I listened to, and got deeply, deeply programmed to believe that my body is my worth and that somebody would choose a body over choosing me. And I know my partner. I know what he values. I know what we've worked towards. I know what I bring to this partnership. I know how beautiful I am. I know all these things. But in an instant, it literally dissipated because little me felt triggered, because I remember how easy it is for some people to only look at the outside of a woman and choose that. But I don't live in that paradigm anymore. We don't live in that paradigm anymore, okay? You can change your reality by changing your mind. And I have changed my mind and set my energy a certain way to where I just feel like I don't have to brace for that anymore. I have such an intimate relationship with spirit, and I feel like I wouldn't be put in these situations with my partner, and I wouldn't be put in this life, and I wouldn't have all these blessings, and I wouldn't have my daughter, and I wouldn't have all of this just for it to crumble at the very, beginning of my life. Once I followed my heart and followed my intuition and listened to myself, I just don't feel like my relationship with God is one where I'm going to be swept off my feet again. This is a period of my life where God is asking me to learn safety. This is a period of my life where God is asking me to be more secure in myself. And it's so funny because about a week before all of this has happened, I did a prayer. And honey, don't pray. Don't you pray for something you don't want. Because I did a prayer and I said, God, show me in all the ways that I am not showing up as the version of myself that I want to be in this relationship. Highlight to me in all the ways that this relationship is not serving me or serving us or serving you. And it wasn't because he said, hey, to a human. It was mirroring to me how fragile my self-worth can be when it feels triggered. It's easy for me to say, it's easy for me to feel good when I feel good. It's easy for me to when I'm in the gym and I'm doing this and doing that. But the second that a really beautiful woman spoke to my partner, I crumbled. I crumbled. And it's okay. I'm not upset with myself because I've come a long way, honey, a long way. And if you're anything like me, couldn't watch TV with my partner, couldn't go out in public without scanning rooms with my partner. And part of it was, again, that wound of feeling like I wasn't enough because of my father. And part of it was dating young men who were also put in the paradigm of sexualizing women, who grew up in the same reality that I did, just with a different perspective. And this was pushed on them as well. And I'm starting to learn that. I'm starting to understand that this is a poo side of the same coin. And when I fell in love with my partner, it forced me to look at men differently, because for the first time in my life, I loved a man. There was such a long period of my life where I didn't like men. I was afraid of men. I honestly, I would go to say I hated men, but I'm not one that carries a lot of hate in my heart. But I felt very turned off by men, scared of men, disgusted by men, etc. So when I fell in love with my partner, I had to open my eyes to the fact that he was also a man. And this made me look a little bit deeper into some of the wounds that I was feeling and some of the pressures that I was putting on the young men that I was dating, not taking into consideration their perspective of living in the same world that I was living in without the perspective of being a woman, if that makes any sense. So I began to realize this had little of nothing to do with me when we started to deep dive into breaking apart this misogyny, objectification, and sexualization. And so we did the work together. I see him show up daily. I see him, he's been honest with me when he's had slip-ups. He's been honest with me when he's had periods of time where he was tempted. We've worked through so much together, and I've worked on my self-worth. I've worked on loving myself, showing up for myself. But I'm still a human being who had this experience, who had this perspective as a woman. And it's not going to be perfect 24/7, especially in the beginning of your healing stages. So if you're anything like me and you've done some work, but you have moments that still kind of like push you back in the past or push you into the old paradigm, I want you to remember who you are, the value that you bring, the energy that you radiate, the love that you display. And if anybody only wants to get your body from you, if anybody is willing to sacrifice you for a body or you for sex, that's not somebody you want in your life anyways. I promise you. And sometimes spirit will shed people from your life in order to bring what is more aligned with you in. I was in a relationship for 8 years, and when I began to do this deep dive in spirituality and self-healing and growth, my relationship ended, my job ended, I lost my house, I lost everything. And I thought to myself, wow, I just f***ed up. Like, my life is falling apart. What did I do? It was falling apart so that new could come in that was more aligned with me. And when me and my partner met, my current partner, when we met, we were both probably at some of the lowest points in our life. We both had codependency issues. We both had addiction. We both had objectification issues. We both had sexualization issues. We both, the list goes on and on. We met each other where we were, and we grew from there, and we decided to do that together. And we don't have to go backwards all the time. And sometimes our mind will force us or make us or want us to go backwards and want us to remember in all the ways we were hurt, or remember in all the ways we were left or abandoned, or not chosen fully. And so when things happen in our reality that trigger that feeling, that nerve, it's okay. And I just want you to take a minute the next time that you're triggered, the next time you feel that feeling, that feeling in your chest where you're just like, yeah, that you feel that. I want you to sit and take 10 breaths and remind yourself how valuable you are before you make a decision or before anything comes out of your mouth. Because if I could go back in time, I would not look at him and say that. I wouldn't look at him and say that. I would have changed how I reacted in that situation. For my dignity and for him and all of the work that he's put in this relationship. So that's my take on feeling deeply insecure sometimes, especially if you don't have a father figure, especially if you have a wound of abandonment or a wound of feeling like your self-worth is depicted by your body. You're more than that. You're a lot more than that. You bring a lot to the table that you don't give yourself credit for. And it's probably because you are still the one valuing physicality. You're so much more than your body. You're so much more than how beautiful you are. You are so much more than the outside layer that the world tells you is so important. I promise you. And what is meant for you is meant for you. And if God put something in your life, baby, it's not to hurt you or to harm you or to take it from you. It's yours. And if it leaves your life, it was never meant for you in the first place. What is yours will stay. It will nurture you. It will grow with you. You will never have to question it. And if you do question it, it's probably you. Everything is finite. Everything. This whole experience is just for you to learn and to grow and to soften into yourself. And if you are anything like me and you have used relationships to do that for you, I really implore you to learn how to do some of the things that you're looking for in partnership for yourself. Validate yourself, love your body, love who you are, show up for you, commit to you, and everything outside of you will be a byproduct of that. Okay, I'm going in. I'm gonna go work out. I love you guys so much. If you stuck around for this video, leave a like and a comment to let me know that I'm not alone out here. I know I'm really trying to build this community up and have a bunch of like-minded people like me, because this journey can feel lonely. If you're anything like me and you're on the healing journey and you've taken the road less traveled, you may be looking around and hearing crickets, because it can be a lonely journey. But here is one of the main reasons that I want to make this channel, to let people know that you're not alone and there are people out there who feel like you, and hopefully I'm one of them and we can build this community together. So thanks for being here. I love you guys so much, and Godspeed on your adventure.